Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into some of the most pressing geopolitical risks of 2024. In recent decades, a world once defined by globalization and geoeconomics has rapidly shifted towards one dominated by geopolitical risks. Persistent shocks like the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict have significantly reshaped global dynamics by 2024. The U.S. strategy aims to manage competition with rival superpowers while pursuing its interests, yet geopolitical tensions continue to escalate. Energy and climate change remain contentious issues, with global progress on climate transition remaining slow. Nevertheless, the recent surge in energy prices due to the Ukraine conflict may drive renewed decarbonization efforts, bolstered by the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act, which offers substantial incentives for renewable energy investment. COVID-19's global impact remains polarized, influencing economic and social landscapes. Countries are re-evaluating globalization, increasingly focused on reducing risks and diversifying their dependencies. Cyberattacks are also on the rise, posing severe threats to national security and financial stability due to the growing digitization of critical infrastructure. The world's shifting focus from globalization to geopolitical tension means there's a lot to unpack. So, let's break down these risks and what they could mean for our global landscape. First up, let's talk about the escalating Russia-NATO tensions. The ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict is not just a regional issue, it's shaking up global politics and economies. The relationship between NATO and Russia is the tensest it's been since the Cold War, thanks to economic sanctions on Russia and NATO's support for Ukraine through military and financial aid. With the conflict dragging on and neither side seemingly ready for a ceasefire or settlement, there's a real risk of escalation. Even though a global conflict seems unlikely, the unpredictability of war keeps the world on edge. Next, let's dive into the growing threat of cyber attacks. Cybersecurity is becoming one of the most critical issues for both businesses and national security. We're seeing more sophisticated and frequent attacks, like ransomware, that target essential infrastructure. For example, recent attacks have crippled organizations, including major corporations and government sites. The increasing digitization of critical national infrastructure, like power grids, water supply networks, and transportation systems, makes them prime targets for cybercriminals. The consequences of such attacks can be severe, ranging from economic damage to loss of life. With international cooperation on cybersecurity being so complex, the risks are mounting. Now, let's talk about the ongoing US-China strategic competition. The relationship between these two superpowers is more strained than ever. Issues like military expansion in the South China Sea, technological advancements, and trade tensions are creating significant geopolitical risks. Although both nations are committed to competing responsibly, tensions are high. Trade disputes, technology restrictions, and concerns over intellectual property continue to sour relations. Any escalation could further disrupt global trade and financial markets, impacting economies worldwide. Moving on to renewed pragmatism versus deglobalization. The COVID-19 pandemic revealed vulnerabilities in our global supply chains, prompting many countries to rethink their reliance on international trade. We're seeing a shift towards protectionism and self-sufficiency, with nations aiming to reduce their dependence on single trading partners. Despite this trend, cross-border economic engagement continues. Businesses are still active in international trade, even amidst rising tensions. The key is finding a balance between cooperation and self-reliance in an increasingly complex global economy. Let's dive into climate risk, which is a major geopolitical concern. Climate change is already affecting national security and global stability. Extreme weather events, like hurricanes, floods, and droughts, are becoming more frequent and severe. These events damage infrastructure and disrupt supply chains, leading to resource scarcity and economic instability. For instance, reduced precipitation and water scarcity are heightening tensions in regions like the Middle East and Africa. If global efforts to combat climate change fall short, we could face dire consequences, including mass displacement and food and water insecurity. Finally, let's discuss energy security. Energy resources are crucial for economic development, and recent events have highlighted this importance. The war in Ukraine has disrupted Europe's access to Russian gas, leading to soaring prices and a return to coal in some countries. While transitioning to cleaner energy sources is a long-term goal, ensuring affordable energy is an immediate priority for many nations. Plus, the digitization of energy infrastructure has made it more vulnerable to cyberattacks, adding to the overall risk. So, what does this all mean for us? These geopolitical risks are interconnected and have significant implications for global trade, financial markets, and national security. The ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict affects global energy supplies, while rising cyber threats and US-China tensions could disrupt international relations. Climate change continues to impact infrastructure and trade routes, and energy security remains a critical concern. Navigating these risks requires a coordinated approach. International cooperation is essential for addressing climate change, cybersecurity, and other global challenges. Despite rising tensions, continued trade and collaboration show that partnerships are still possible. As we face one of the most economically disruptive periods in decades, integrating geopolitical risk analysis into strategic planning is more important than ever. Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive into geopolitical risks. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates on global affairs.